I want to thank you so much for joining us for this very important occasion. This has been a year-long journey for many of us, and I'm pleased to present to you Interact Communications. We started a request for proposal process almost a year ago, and after interviews, very rigorous process, we hired a firm. I think you're going to be very pleased with what you're going to learn today. But most importantly, we're going to fill the voids that many of you have expressed to me over the past 2 years. We, for the first time in a very long time, have research to drive our decisions. We're going to put HACC back on the map so that we can see our enrollment to increase. I want to thank those of you who have been supportive of this process. You have responded to emails, you've completed surveys, you've been part of focus groups. I want to thank Rob Steinmetz and his team, the Office of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management for their support, and the cabinet as well. There are many others of you, but thank you so much for all that you've done to get us to this point. I do want to tell you that our president had a mandatory meeting with the President's Council. That is a group of community college presidents in Pennsylvania. So he's not here with us today. But please know that he has been heavily engaged and supportive throughout this entire process, and so he does send his regrets to you. I want to introduce you to Dr. Pam Cox-Otto, PAMCO for short. She comes to us from one of the best integrated marketing communications firm in our nation. She's going to tell you more about that organization soon. But what's really special about PAMCO is that she focuses only on community colleges. She knows who we are. She knows that we're very different and unique. So we don't have a cookie cutter approach to what we're going to be doing today. This is going to be unique and special like we are here at HACC. So I want to introduce to you Dr. Pam Cox-Otto. She's going to take you through a wonderful journey. There's going to be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end. So please enjoy yourself and have your questions ready to go. Okay? Thank you again and Happy New Year.
When I tell you that I'm glad to be here, I left home and it was 25 degrees below zero without the wind chill, so I'm really, really freaking glad to be here. I got caught up, I apologize for being a little late. We got caught up in all of that wild weather. So I appreciate you showing up today when we had other times planned. With that, let me start through this. And I'm going to start at the beginning, which is a very good place to start. And basically, I'm going to begin with the understanding of what a brand is, because I know many of you have a good understanding of branding, but I know a lot of you also don't have that. So let me start with kind of where we're going with this, and then I'll take you through the research process and finally to where we ended up. First, here's what a brand isn't. It isn't simply a theme or a tagline. It isn't something disposable. It's not something that we can throw away. It's not the emperor's new clothes. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a college and people go, well, it's really just, you know, some light patina of new words that sell something. And the answer is that is not what it is. If it's done well, it is the heart of who you are. It is us looking at what you take pride in what you do here at HACC, and putting that forward to the community so that people see it and that it connects. It's the idea that allows us to talk about all the different missions that you do. One of the biggest problems with community colleges is you're a breath mint. You know, you're something else. You're this. You're that. You know, half the time you're getting people new jobs. Half the time you're helping people transfer. You're helping businesses start new firms. You're helping people train employees. Sound familiar? So one of the problems is coming up with a way to talk about yourself where you can use the same words and yet it fits for all of your different missions. So that's part of what we're doing. It's the best self of who you are, and in this case, it's not just how you perceive yourselves to be, but it's something that builds around what the audience and your community sees you to be. If you were a large manufacturing company, or GM or Apple, you could roll out something new and say, if I were doing Pam Cox-Otto branding, I'd go Pam Cox-Otto, tall, slender, blonde. And the problem is that brand would not last very long, because eventually you'd meet me and you go, okay, so not tall, slender, blonde. one of the issues of it is that it has to resonate with who you really are, right? Which is part of the reason we've done all of this research, because it has to be how the community already thinks you are. Because you've been around too long for us to pull something out of my creative ear and say, this is who HACC is. You've been in these cities that you serve for so long that it's impossible for people to believe something that they don't already, in a sense, believe you are. So that's where we started with all of this research. I can't help myself. I wrote a book on branding, so it's cause and effect, right? It's based on real or once real attributes, sustained aspirations of faculty and staff. And I say that because if faculty and staff don't believe that this is part of who they are, it doesn't last, because it literally, the experience in the classroom belies whatever marketing message. And you've seen places where people market something and they say, great service, you know, cable companies, great service, we care about you. And then you call them and a short 5 days later, they don't show up, right? So we want to build it around what they believe about you. And it's based on the fulfilled expectations of students, meaning we can't simply say this is who we are. Students have to experience that's who they are. When all of that is done, the effect is that there's this perception out there. At this point, it's unvoiced, but it's how people see you, how you see yourselves, those kernel points of pride that resonate whether you're inside the institution or outside. And it's a learned perception, which means when I give you a brand at the end of this, it's based on what people already believe, but we also need to help teach them that they're much more than whatever they perceive you to be right now. Because whatever it is, I guarantee you one thing. Everybody out there has too small a vision of who you really are. The only people who probably have an accurate vision of who you really are and can be to your community are the people in here, but for a large part, it's the blind man describing the elephant. You know, you're a strong, solid college. You're like a snake. I'm using the anybody read Rudyard Kipling? Am I the only one? Okay. Ooh, there we go. We got one. So that's, when I say that it's learned, when I say that it's rational, it means that these are things that we can build on. But it's another thing, and it's also emotional, meaning at the end of it, we all say that we make decisions based on logic. That is so not true. You agree with me, right? Because how many times have you known, you go, I shouldn't eat that, and yet I want it. I think I'll eat that now, right? So even though we know something's not good for us, or even though we know this is better, we don't all eat kale for breakfast. We don't all do the things that we know we should do. We do the things that feel right, that are emotional. So this is what we're aiming for. That's kind of the core element of what we're pushing for. If we're good, a strong brand does a couple of things. It creates a sense of identity. It's a bank account for who you are. I'll give you an example of that I've just recently experienced. City College of San Francisco is having accreditation issues. They are in deep, deep kimchi, right? They're supposed to have their accreditation pulled in July, okay? And yet when you talk to the community about who they are, because they've had such a strong brand, people still say, you're good. It's an excellent college. It's doing great things. A good brand will see you through times when things get a little rough because it helps focus people's belief in who you are. It's an emotional bank account. It adds a shine. It helps put you in a leadership position. The branded college basically makes you stronger. The unbranded college is the equivalent of brand X. Go here, nobody else wants you. That's not what we want. We want, go here, this is a really wise place for you to be. So, our goals: complete a brand for HACC that differentiates you from the competitors, because you can't swing a dead cat without hitting another college in this region, right? A lot of them everywhere. More than that, we want something that resonates, because you've got unique campuses, and your unique campuses each have a different perception of how HACC serves them in that community. So we have to have something that is broad enough to encompass HACC, but allows you to make it resonate, whether you're in Gettysburg or Lancaster or York, wherever you are, right? And finally, of course, it's got to represent who you are. So with that, I'm going to stop with the walking you through. You're going, I knew that, Pam. Why did you cover all that? Now let me talk about the research. So first is the process, and I know that's difficult to read. This will all be available to you. I know that Liney and the folks will make this available. But I want to walk you through, because some of you don't know, some of you have been a part of this, but some of you have not been seeing all the things that happen. So first we did a communication audit, which is we looked at all your materials and how you talk about you, right? Then we went out and we did focus groups, both internally and externally, to see what people were saying. We tried to spread those around. The next thing we did was an online survey of faculty and staff, trying to capture what you are thinking about yourselves. We took all of those elements and we rolled them into attributes. And with those, we tested them with a survey out in the community to see which ones people believe. Coming out of that, we came up with ideas. I know you're going, I can't keep track of all this. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it, giving you the overview. And then we tested some things. We tested core concepts, and then we came back with the brand. There has been at least 6 full research steps as we went through all of this piece, and we've done our best to capture the broad range of attitudes. So with that, 6 focus groups, 3 adult focus groups, 6 high school focus groups, 3 adult focus groups, 4 interviews with community and foundation leaders, and 1,790 board members, staff, faculty, administration, students all participated in our online survey. So you can see we took a little bit of time to try to gather information. Then we did the attribute survey, 500 phone surveys distributed, randomly selected out of the population, and this was quantitative research. Before it's qualitative, but this is where we're testing to see what people really believe. Then we did brand testing, 2 high school groups, a business leader focus group, and a faculty and staff focus group. And we were testing concepts. And then at the end of it, we were testing statements that ring true, that would work with your diverse audience. And at the end of it, we got data. So now, data. You're going, this is a long lead-in to real numbers, isn't it? I wanted you to understand where we got them. Here we go. First, I think this is interesting. What we did is we took the individual focus groups and we put them into a chart so that you could see what popped. And so word art, I think, helps you see the things people think about you. The good news is that they're talking about you being a part of their home, about you being good, about you having a nice environment. There are some negatives in there, and we've written a report that will give you a lot of the details. But for now, what we wanted you to see was that in general, among high school students, you've got a positive set of attributes that they think about you. And they consider you part of their home. Now, sometimes that's not a good thing, because as you know, the first thing that every high school kid in the world wants to do is leave home. So, knowing that they consider you part of home is both good and bad, and we went into that knowing that. We talked to working adults, convenient, affordable, that's when vital, class size, cost effective. What that should tell you is what a good job basically your communications department's been doing for you, because a lot of these messaging are things that I know that you've been putting out in your messages. I've seen them in the materials that you produced, and they've been resonating. People pick that up, people have been listening. And the adults basically see you as flexible and convenient and affordable. So that whole open door piece has resonated with the adults. Online school students, and they talk about you being good again. And this is actually, this is the broader group, because this was high school, got rolled into the other pieces. But what you can see is that once again, they liked you, they think that you're high quality. We talked to business leaders, Hispanic and business leaders, and we aggregated them. Affordable comes up, partnerships, accreditation pops, not in a bad sense, but they know there's some things going on, but they also see you as still accredited. High school parents, look at that, close home, right? It's like, don't leave my basement, my son and daughter. We want to keep you here, I love you. It's clear that parents are looking at the fact that there's an education that they can offer to their kids without sending them far, far away. So that's another good piece for you, but we've already talked about what that means in terms of high school students. And then this was faculty and staff, and if you look, it's about the first word that pops for all of you is students, right? Paying attention to students, educate, passion, faculty, experience. There's a real sense of pride in what you bring to students, and that showed very clearly in the messaging from the internal audiences. And that was also a part of this. Now, I gave you an overview. I actually have these in a huge database where we sort and resort. But what we did is we took all of those pieces and we aggregated them. And what we tried to do was pull them into things that are kind of core concepts that we could test to see how much people really believe it. And these are things that play across all audiences, all of your critical audiences, right? But there's one thing, and I mentioned this before, but some of you haven't heard me say this, so I'm going to say it now. There are 3 things that I never use for a brand. And they are easy to get into, close to home, and affordable. And you know why I don't use those 3? Because everybody else does. Because if I used those, and if I really made people believe that, well, first of all, they already kind of do. Remember how affordability kept coming up and close to home, right? The easy to get into didn't show, but there's a meta language and flexibility and open, and right? I don't use those because, one, everybody else uses them, so any place where you're in competition with other 2-year schools, those do not serve you. Secondly, there's a lot of research and heuristics about how people make decisions about what they value. And I assure you, people don't go out and go, show me the cheapest ring I can buy my future wife or husband, right? Because I want it cheap and I want it now and I want it, you know, easy to fit on and throw away because who knows how long this will last. That easy, that affordable, that close to home stuff, at its core are messages that while people say they value them and that they like them, at the heart, they don't value them as much as expensive, hard to get into, far, far away. Nobody brags that their kid got into the local community college. They brag that their kid got into Stanford or Harvard or, see what I'm saying? So in some ways, those messages downgrade who we are. Not because what we're doing is not valuable, but because at its core, we're devaluing ourselves by going to those points as if those are the selling points. They should not be coming here because you're easy to get into, close to home, and affordable. They should be coming here because you're damn good. And you will help them on their way in a way that nobody else will. And because you give a lot in your heart about who they are. Right? So, let's stop talking lowest common denominator, which is what those are. Let me talk these pieces. So we had developed these attributes, and it's not that they ignore some of those pieces. These were the core things that we looked for, that people think about you, but they're unusual, right? Because part of what we're trying to do is differentiate you in the market, something that sets you apart. So we're not looking for that one common thing that everybody has, because if you have it, there's a chance your local community college folks that are in competition will have it. So we looked at empowering individuals, fast education, every kind of program, passion for success, cornerstone of the community, successful people go here, built around students, a great start, something extra every time, and a high-tech college. Now there's a lot of you who would say, oh, well, other schools have that. No, they don't. I do this all the time. Those things don't always pop. So for you, those popped out of the groups. So once we had that, we tested them. And when we tested them, this is going to be a little hard to read, and for this part, you have access to all of this stuff. I'll make the final report of this is available. Liney and Megan will have it. But the piece that you need to do is unfocus your eyes and look at it, and you can see what pops. These are things that people find important. And when we're developing a brand, we're looking for 3 things, okay? Important. I value that thing, okay? We're looking at how important is it, how much do you have it, and how much does your competition have it. And what we're looking for in a perfect world is something they think is important, that you own, that your competition doesn't, okay? So as we go through this, what pops for you in terms of importance are empowering individuals, passion for student success, built around students, and then these are not statistically different, a great start and a high-tech college. So people think those things are important. So then the question became, do you have it? And the things that they associate with you are, from left to right, empowering individuals, passion for student success, built around students, and a great start, and then a little bit lower, high-tech college. So you don't quite own high-tech college, but you've got that whole passion thing you seem to be doing well with. What we also then did was run the difference between what you have and your competition has. So anything where the numbers go down below the line, that means you don't own it. In fact, other people own it. Anything where it's higher above the line means there was a really significant difference between you and others. So what you own, oddly enough, is fast education and a great start, and to some extent, passion for student success and empowering individuals. Now, the other ones, it doesn't mean those are positive for you, so people associate them more with you, but in terms of people thinking they're really good and you having them, those are the ones that popped. So we took those and we boiled it down into these kind of core concepts: passion, empowering, a great start, fast, and built around students or something extra. We kind of tried to roll that into something. And we came up with those kind of core statements. And with that, we developed test statements, okay? So at this point, all that focus group led us to those 10 statements. Those 10 statements boil down to about those 5 things where you seem to own them, right? And then we pull those out, and now what we're doing is we're building test marketing statements around those. We want them to kind of say something about those elements. Now, the reason why I always tell people this is because I'm about to show you really bad branding statements. And I once scared the entire state of Texas because I did not explain that these are throwaways, and they were looking at me going, "This stuff's not very good. I don't like this at all." So hence these are test wells. We don't drill every place we put a test well. We're testing, right? So we come up with some test statements that we test with the audience to see what people react to. And here's the only tricky part of what we do that's really it's sneaky. I enjoy it. I hope you do too. We've asked people what they think about the college. That was the qualitative. We've tested those statements. Everything we were asking was exactly what we were asking. Do you value this? Do you associate it with HACC? Do you associate it with their competition? All straight up. But this is the only part where we get a little sneaky, because we make these statements and we say, we want you to react to them and rate them from basically love it to hate it on a scale. And then tell us how you'd fix it. How would you make it better? Okay? Now, they think they're helping us fix brands because they're just that good. They must know a lot about marketing because they can do this. What they don't really know is what they're really doing for us is helping us identify words that have emotional power. Because what happens is when people go to fix something, they use words that have meaning to them. See what I'm saying? So they're using words that basically resonate internally and give us emotional power. So we came up with stand up, stand out, front and center, get right to it, empowered, what's your story, ignite your passion, it's your turn, launch, it's go time, part of something bigger, level up, and working on your core. Now, I had a writer who apparently spent too much time watching sports, because that whole level up, working on your core, it was like, wait a minute, am I in a fitness program or are we doing a college brand? Help me here. But we thought these are decent statements, right? And each one of them is they're standing over those empowered issues, right? All of the statements that we've already identified. And we took them out to the test groups and we had people rate them. What this shows you is the ones that people loved and hated, right? And when I loved, I use that loosely. It's meaning they liked it or strongly liked it. Remember, this is a 6-point Likert scale with 1 being hate it and 6 being love it. So 4.5 is basically between slightly like and like, okay? So ignite your passion, empowered, part of something bigger, those are all better. Launch front and center and level up, not so much. Working on your core, no. So you can see in the gradients how people reacted in terms to the language. So that just gives us a starting point. What really got interesting is when they tell us how they would fix them. So basically, ignite your passion, empowered, part of something bigger, ownership, it's your turn, were the statements that kind of popped out. Now we said, give us words that you would use. Now I'm not going to show you all the ways they fixed it because across all those focus groups, people had lots of ideas. But what they did is there was a similarity to the words they used to fix it. I don't care in what order, I care that these words seem to have power. And the words that had power were things like changed. Not this is a change for me, but I am changed, right? Those things have power. Yours, ownership, encouraged, motivated, take control, strong, mine, I own it, learn, the community, belonging. Every time we tried to get people to fix these, they started infusing words, or exactly these words, or the similarity of those words into the messaging. Now, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to walk you through how we got here because I know I'm throwing a lot of words at you. So I want you to see how things kind of come into the picture and then disappear. When we did the focus groups, we found empowering, passion, built around, fast, great start. And I kind of grouped them into things that are fairly similar. The power is mine, passion for success, a good start of the things that came out of the survey. We saw that people at their core are talking about being engaged, having control of their life, being a part of something, belonging to something larger than who they are. And then when we tested them, people put in words like ownership, I'm encouraged, strong, they give me power, they give me control, belonging, mine, yours, community, and then the idea of learning, changing, future. Now see how there's some core ideas that keep resonating? One is I'm in control. One is it's mine, right? Because yours and mine is really kind of it's the idea of who's talking, right? What's mine is yours. So there's a whole they're in a sense the same concept. Belonging, community, and the fact that people come out of here changed. So you've got an issue of who owns it, who's got control of it, and what's happening. Are the three big pieces that seem to be part of people's view of who you are. So that brought us down to this. And I will not kid you, there's a part here where you have to have, you take all of this and you boil it down. And now what we do is I sit with my team and I say, we're trying to come up with something that you can own, that encapsulates these really broad brush concepts that have emotional power. And it's not statements like, you can come here and we'll send you on your way really fast to someplace good. And I say that because how many times have you seen somebody with a brand statement that's like, war and peace? So we want something that not only fits this, but one more piece that I've not really talked about, and I'm going to talk about it now. It's called, it's ambiguity, right? And it's strategic ambiguity, which means, remember Just Do It and the whole brand that came out of Nike? The reason why Just Do It works is because boomers, remember what Just Do It used to mean? Right? Just do it. Oh, wow. Okay. Why don't we do it in the road? Am I the only one who remembers that song? Just Do It had this whole idea around it of that whoever listens to it, do it is whatever you're thinking at the time. Right? Do it could be get off your tuchus and go exercise. Do it could be play as hard as you can. Do it could have other meanings as it has had in the past. But strategic ambiguity is that it has words that have variations of meanings depending on who you are and where you are in your life and what you've associated with the images, right? So what we're trying for is something, remember at the beginning when I talked about how broad your range of things you're trying to do? We want it to be something that doesn't say, start here, go anywhere, because start here, go anywhere implies you're leaving, right? So that's not good, and it's how many people are you training up for jobs that are here? That doesn't have room for people who are being trained locally. See what I'm saying? Some of these things, they get really specific and they immediately push out people that are also in your messaging, so there's nothing in it for them, which is why you get people starting to argue over, give me a brand that I can use in my stuff because that doesn't fit me. So we aim for strategic ambiguity. The focus words, the power words that it came down to are control of your life, owning your future, being motivated, belonging, that you feel encouraged. This is my opportunity. This belongs to me. It's yours. The community, it's possible, it's strong. And this is how I always go through the last stage, okay? And the last stage before every brand is this. I always see that there are 3 tiers to messaging for every college. Tier 1 is talking to potential students, people that we're saying, this is your entrance to transfer or a job or a better life, and their families, education that you can afford for your family. Tier 2 is that broader, if this is the individual, this is the community voice. This is, we're making the community stronger. We're responding to community needs. Business and industry, we're providing training because we know how important you are to the well-being of our community. And tier 3 is that whole leadership function, which is you are a part of this community, and when you are strong, you feed into the whole economic engine of the region. You, in fact, reinforce the strength of the area, and that you're a resource for change. When jobs change, when industries come and go, you're basically the people first on the ground responding to that and making it better. So, anything that works has to work by offering messages that play among all of those audiences. Now you can see why something like Start Here, Go Anywhere doesn't work. Because it doesn't work for a business market, right? It doesn't work for leadership. It has to be something that plays among all of those 3. Now I know you're sitting there going, well, there are no words that would do all of that, so we're going home now. No, there is, but it has to do with strategic ambiguity. So we knew that we had to build into the idea of ownership, belonging, and that you have the power. Right? Those are the things that across all of them kept resonating over and over again. And so, if we're talking about HACC being a part of the community, and HACC being something that gives the power to the people and the students that are coming here, at its heart, HACC is yours. Now I know some of you are going, that's way too strategically ambiguous for me. My what? Let me show you. First of all, this is your college, your place, your time. See what I mean? It's about how it's about taking control. The choice is yours. It's basically, in the past, a lot of your messaging has been HACC offers you this. In other words, you're the good guys, the people in a position of power, giving people this, which makes you not the strong people. In this case, HACC belongs to you. We're giving you the power to talk about being, you own it. HACC is yours. We are always yours. It has multiple meanings, and I'll show you what I mean when I say that, but how many times have we wanted to talk about our students as not being people who couldn't get into a real college, but as people of worth who are choosing to shape their life in a way by coming here, right? The courage to change, the will to make a difference. The courage is yours. See how we can talk about their attributes and brag about how good they are because they have those attributes? At the same time, the ambiguity is that HACC belongs to you. We recognize the greatness in you that others have not seen. The courage is yours. HACC, we're yours too. Now, it's an asset, and it totally works in the strategic ambiguous piece, but I know you're saying to yourself, okay, but I just don't see how I can, some of you in here have programs, right? How many of you have programs? You're in there thinking, how will I market my program with yours? So, let me give you a couple of pieces. First, nobody else has it. We did a search. Nobody else has that core brand. It's simple, it's complete, it's got infinite flexibility, but let me show you how it can work. For students, Artist or architect, paramedic or paralegal, now it's your call. Finally yours. See what we did there? The power, the choices, they're not indecisive. They are people who have choices to make, and the power is theirs. Is that not kind of fun? I always know when I hit something because I give myself a frisson, that little, that could work. Well, when we did that, with the language leads in, you go, yeah, we're bragging about how good they are. For families, you worked hard all day, you studied all night, all for a brighter tomorrow. Completely yours. Are we talking about the tomorrow or HACC? It doesn't matter. The answer is yes. See what I'm saying? Wherever you're going, wherever it is you want to be, we are going to be part of that because we are yours. You have the drive, we are your vehicle. We offer ourselves to you. There's power in that, gang. It's the whole idea in a sense of, if you've ever heard of the service leadership concept, right? Where the idea is that you are serving, you truly are in service to those. It's rededicating ourselves to the service of the people that we've been serving all along, but putting it in language so that they see how much we value them. As opposed to, we are here with noblesse oblige, offering them something, and if they have courage, they can come get it. But instead, we assume they've got that. Here's us being yours. Keep playing. For workers, a higher education, a higher salary, finally your hard work is paying off professionally. Yours. Now, we played with an idea, and I've got it in these pieces. A long time ago, 6 years or so, we did a campaign with a college where we tried the alley words, and we did it for like one semester because they just didn't have the breadth that you do with all of your different programs, all your different campuses. So one of the pieces that we're recommending as we roll this out is, you see the alley words? There are thousands of those alley words. Musically, theatrically, technically. See what I'm saying? Whatever your program is, I guarantee you there's a word that probably can be used to help you talk about your program, all while using yours in a way that makes sense. So we added it as a way to basically think of it as training wheels to help people see all the ways that you are theirs, right? All the ways that they fit. For those wondering about transfer, Millersville, Penn State, Temple, there's a spot for you. Your HACC degree opens doors, exclusively yours. Cool? What it's doing is it's allowing us, a lot of you have, when we were doing the focus group, said, we want to be able to, can we do, you've got how many programs? 200 plus programs? Okay. So, the ability for us to do complete campaigns around every program, not possible. But the ability for your program to take words and have it, make it your own, in your own way of talking about yourselves, in your own way, and yet have it resonate as who you are, that kind of flexibility is part of what this gives to you. For businesses, your business depends on up-to-date training, professional development you can count on, reliably, yours. Both the idea that people are being trained and the fact that you are always there. For students looking for careers, and by the way, we started using some of your images. Not all of these are yours. Sorry. Not all of these are your students, but they will be. So there's a few folks in here that are still some of the stock art, but this is one of your students, and we have several images in here. And one of the fun parts is that we're using the shape of your logo, right, to help frame in. So it's not just a person in there, it's focusing on the face, because the truth is, as well as I do, the two parts of a person's body that have meaning to people are this and this. So it's focusing people to see the face, the courage in people's faces, and it allows us to use your own students. A career you choose, a college you trust, real-world training that works for you, technically, yours. So technical training. I also like to use these to brag about faculty, because you recruit faculty, you want to keep faculty, you want to talk to people about the difference in your faculty and others. So No ivory towers allowed. Down-to-earth instructors with real-world experience to help you succeed. Practically. Yours. You mean practically? Not entirely? Okay. Academically, realistically, decidedly, precisely, unequivocally, yours. Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see how that works? There's a lot of room to play. There's a lot of room to make it work for whatever situation we're using. And yet, the idea is always talking about the courage of people, the attributes that people have, and how all of those are being brought in service because HACC is yours. It's pithy, it's current, it puts students first, but works well for everybody. Every strength that anybody has is yours. Every service that can be offered is yours because HACC is choosing to offer that. Whether you're in the district or a campus, that is yours, right? Whether you see yourselves as HACC, the entire set of colleges, campuses, or whether you're looking at individual campuses, it doesn't matter, it can work. So for example, we played out with what we call sub-brands that allow you to talk about pieces. So, continuing ed. French, Spanish, HTML, it's never too late to learn a new language. Continually yours. I'm seeing head nodding. Are you starting to get happier? Yeah? Cool, huh? Virtually IM, and IM is checked out, possible. Online learning that fits your schedule, digitally yours. The foundation. You've worked hard for your achievements. Giving back is your legacy. Fundamentally, yours. The power is yours to give, but it's reinforcing that we're here. See what I'm saying? So, I'm going to keep giving you some more examples, but the piece that I want you to realize is, did you ever think that we could find something that would work for groups as varied as continuing education, online, the foundation, high school transfer, profession? You see what I'm saying? Now, because it has strategic ambiguity, it can work many places. But it's also critical that we not break it because we need to keep making, because while it has lots of flexibility for it to work, we have to stay within the parameters. I've tried to give you some ways to be fun with it, with the alley words, but at its heart, the reason why it works so well is because that it allows us to talk both about HACC and about the attributes of individuals themselves. Alumni, you've taken your HACC degree and made us proud. Now help us give others the same opportunity by supporting a scholarship for students just like you. Pass your success on to a new generation. Magnanimously, yours. Cool? This is one of your students as well. A higher education, a higher salary, finally your hard work is paying off. Definitely yours. And if you look over here, Lebanon campus. One of the fun things is that there could be, each campus could choose one of the alley words that it wants to own. Technically, practically, you know, Gettysburg, historically. Okay, I know they don't want that, but you see what I'm saying? At the end of all of this, it's a community message you can count on because we are yours. It's a decision maker message because the economic engine, our interests are your interests. It's a personal message because the power of individuals to learn, education to transform. We're saying to people, the power to make your lives different is yours, but so are we. And in that becomes a sense of, well, a sense of power and rightness to what you can do. And here's the other deal. If you own yours, that HACC is yours, which college would you go to? Something that you have, that's yours, or something that's not yours? The very acceptance of people that HACC is yours, belonging to me, means the decision's half made. See what I'm saying? This college is yours. So part of it is that we've short-circuited some of the discussion because the choice clearly is to go to your college. I see head nodding. Are we good?
Dollars on this, as billboards, radio, TV, that sort of thing. Have you made those decisions yet?
What we've done is two things. Have we got all your data back on the media pref piece? Okay. We did a media pref study in the middle of all this stuff in December and November and December, where we asked your students to tell us what kind of media they consume. That data is being cleaned up and processed and put into a sample right now. When I have that back, I'm going to sit down and pull out what I think are the big ticket winners, right? This seems to work, not that. And hopefully, I'm hoping a lot of people from different campuses got their students up there, because we have the ability to separate it by campus. In other words, it's not just all HACC students, it's HACC students who primarily go to the Harrisburg campus or the Lancaster campus. And that allows me to sort the data sample to see what pops in each community. Based on that, we'll start to make those decisions. At this point, the one piece I can tell you that will be different is we're doing TV. I know we're doing TV, and the reason is because cable is not through the roof. You've got a great story to tell. You've got beautiful campuses, and nothing is really going to give people a sense of the scale and of what you do other than showing them those things. So we know we're going to do TV, but how much and where and a lot of the details, I really have to look at that data first. But whatever I do, we'll pull that stuff down and show you what it is so you can see the method to our madness.
Hi, this is Lancaster.
Yes.
Two things. In the future, could you do us a favor and repeat the question? Because to be honest, we totally missed what that question was. And then secondly, I do have a question. Can you share with us, have you given any thought, consideration as to how much is going to be HACC branding versus campus specific or even program specific?
I don't have details for you, but I can talk process. Leading into Christmas, what we did is we spent some time talking to folks at the campuses and folks at within the communications department and folks in enrollment, et cetera, and tried to get our arms around what kinds of marketing things were done in the past, what billboards you did, what things you got printed, when it got printed, when was it. So we could put our arms around the pieces that are out there that people both expect or want, whatever it is, right? So we tried to pull that information together. We've got that. It's missing a lot of specificity. I mean, somebody may say, I want a billboard, or we've always had a billboard there. I still don't know how much that billboard costs, because pulling that together with the previous data and the current pricing, I don't have that stuff yet. But we're using that as a kind of a background piece to figure out what was done, so that we don't violate expectations without people understanding what we've done. And the first piece is to know what's being done now. So if we're going to tweak it, I can talk to you about why I'm tweaking it, so it doesn't just come, why didn't you do that? Well, I didn't know. So we think we're on top of this piece, but the three elements that have to come together are what you've done in the past, what it would cost now to do that, and what seems to be the most effective way to do things and get messages out based on your student information. And that's really what I'm doing in January. Welcome to my life, is trying to bring those elements together to figure out the next step. And it won't be in a secret stuff. We'll post the documents. You'll see what we're doing, what our plan is. My hope is if anything looks out of whack, you'll tell us, and then we'll do tweaking and go forward. But that's our best logical way to proceed. That help?
Yes, but can I follow up and say, when do we think we would see this campaign finally hitting what I'll call the media airways, TV, et cetera?
At this point, I don't have my full calendar in front of me, but we're hoping 1st of March is that we'll have most of the stuff together and doing it. We've not talked the strategy of, campaigns can have lots of different patterns to them. There are patterns where you hit it really hard in the beginning and then kind of go off, or they have a tent pole where you hit it hard and you drop it away, then you come back strong at the end. And then there can be ones where you just kind of go to a certain level and try to spend until you run out of money. because we've got lots of calls out to lots of media folk on what does this cost, how much will you charge us, and there's a lot of, how many do you want to buy, that will affect the price. We're gathering that information now, but our plan is you'll be seeing real stuff hitting the airs in the beginning of March. Okay. Yes.
You talked about the students, how they want to be, contacted and how they want to be reached. Did you think about the parents? Because I have two words, helicopter parents. I work in admissions in the recruitment office. Most of the calls we get are from parents. I was filling out my son's application. I was doing my daughter's FAFSA. So are we doing something to motivate the parents, because that seems to be a driving factor a lot of times?
Yes, but the answer is knowing what the parents are watching is pretty easy, because they're the ones that actually show up in all the normal data in terms of, Nielsen parents and all that stuff. Plus, a lot of your folks who are here are parents. So we basically break it and we look at it by age group, right? So the 35 to 45, the 45 to 55, that gets us lots of good information about what they do. So the answer is yes. But I can also tell you that one of the pieces I just finished doing a series of looking at assuming that parents of community college folks are anywhere between about 38, right, and around there, 38 and older. Looking at that, the most common way that most people say that they pay attention to information is direct mail to home. That's a kind of a universal piece. That doesn't mean that it's it's the only way we're going to do it. But in terms of attention, there's a lot of ways where they consume media. They consume a lot more radio, they consume a lot more TV, but where they attend and have the quiet time in which to look at the stuff tends to be stuff that's put in their hands. So, we're going to look at see how to get stuff into people's hands. But what way right now, I don't know. There might be better ways to do it than mail.
I'm curious about when you compared HACC to other competitors. Mm-hmm. Were there specific competitors, and if so, can you let us know what they were? We
asked each person, who do you perceive to be the main competition, right? And then, keeping that person in mind, compare their strengths to those. So we can both give you the data of who popped in terms of competition by campus, right? But in our mind, we almost don't care who they are. We care what are those attributes that float you up, no matter who they are and what campus. So that's how we looked at it. I know there's other questions. I see it. I feel it. When we get, well, here's the good news. We will have, probably by the end of January, we'll have the full set of data that's out for your students in terms of the media data, right? And I hope to share that with you, and we can look at it across the board. I know there's always variations by region, there's variations by campus. Some places, direct mail might not work in Gettysburg, but it's great in Lebanon. I don't know, right? So we hope to be able to get a fine-grained enough campaign that we can do those kinds of things. But we'll hopefully be able to share all that information with you, because not every single bit of marketing that's being done for the campus can come out of the main push. So my idea is that if we put information into your hands that help you make smart choices about where to put your efforts, right, whatever they are, as you're reaching out and trying to recontact students, that information will help with that. So we'll make it available when it's out there. Sure. Go ahead.
I said, how did you determine who our students are? Because the range.
Sure.
And I can't imagine the difference in a 18-year-old kid who's just graduating from high school, the media they pay attention to,
sure,
and the 48-year-old guy who got laid off and is going back to school for the first time?
Well, the answer in this case is that for doing the online study, our media prep study, the way we determine it is because they got an email because they're a registered student, and then they are given a link to come up to our site where they can fill it out. So we know they're a student because they're a student. Now, in terms of looking at who we go after, right, there's lots of really good data about penetration rates and how large the population is and what percentage of the population you're getting, and we can compare that to national norms and look at areas that are low-hanging fruit where we think you should be doing better with an audience, and if we can get the messages into their hands, you can do better much more quickly. So we've got some data like that, and we'll be looking at it. Well, I'm hoping that you're looking and you're thinking this could work, right? I know somebody out there, I'm getting the boop, 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 boop brainwave that says, well, I'm not sure. I get it. Watch us roll it out. Watch us when we turn it into a commercial that talks about the courage to change, the will to be better than who you are right now, the desire to offer more to your family. Those are yours. The college that can make it happen, that's yours too. HACC. When we roll it out, my goal is to make people get that little frisson down their back that says, this is something unique. You are committing yourselves to the servant model of taking care of your community. And basically, people like to be in control, and what we're saying is something that we've always known in some ways. They are in control. And we want you to know that we are in service of that. Thank you for your time. If you've got questions, you've got the marketing folks who will happily send those questions to me. We're going on to the next phase, which is the campaign, and developing the real materials that will be the real folks with your students, with commercials and all of those pieces. And my hope is that we'll be able to show you all of that stuff before it even rolls out, so there's no surprises. You'll see the complete campaign. But one of the pieces that I hope that you'll notice is that we are passionate about who you are, and I hope you'll feel that there's an edge of emotion and commitment in the very words that we use as we talk about HACC's mission to serve the community. And I think when we roll out the campaign, you'll see that front and center. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Pamco, and thank you everyone for being here. There are some follow-up things we want to ask you to help us with. One is we are going to survey you for your thoughts about today's meeting and the brand. So we'll email you that this week or next week. We're also going to post a video. This has all been videotaped. So for those who could not hear initially, there were some issues at the Lancaster campus. And for those who could not be here, you will be able to view the entire video. Also, we will give you constant updates in the skigram. We want this to be an open process and collaborative. The best part about this brand is it's very flexible. If something's not working and needs to be tweaked, please know that we're going to do that. So this is our process. We want you to be a part of it indefinitely. So please, again, watch for your email about the videotape, the survey, and the constant updates in the skigram. Thank you so very much. If you have any questions, we're going to be here. Please come up to us and ask. But thank you for being here, and have a good evening.
You like it? Good.